Welcome to focusing on our hips. So we're going to move through different stretches for 10 minutes. We'll be holding them for a little bit longer periods. And we're going to start in tabletop position. So we'll go ahead and meet you in tabletop position here. And we're going to go ahead, you're going to roll forward almost like you're doing a plank, but we're still on our knees. And you're going to roll those hips into big circles. Push all the way back, like almost like you're going into, well, not necessarily child's pose, but similar. If you listen really carefully, you might be able to hear the birds around me. Nice big circles. Nice. Go ahead and pause at the top and then switch that rotation. If you're with me, you're going clockwise now. Really pushing back and forward, almost like your pelvic floor is going to come all the way to the floor. That feels good. Right. See how wide and big you can make that circle. Start finding your breath and just match one half. Maybe you inhale as you go forward and exhale as you go back. All right, wherever you are, we're going to pause at the back, big toes to touch, knees wide. We're going to push back into child's pose. You're trying to reach your hands forward towards the front of the mat and your chest coming down towards the mat, really opening up your heart here. Your forehead can go to the mat. Always an invitation. If this is too hard, you can always lay on your back and hug in your knees, which we will end with today. All right, take another couple deep breaths here. Take that breath in all the way through the chest, into the belly, and release it out nice and slow. Nice, and on the next exhale, go ahead and lift up your head, come up to your forearms, start to walk your hands back towards your feet. You can lift up and bring your knees back in together. We're gonna tuck our toes, and we're gonna lift up, just our knees hovering off the ground. All right, if you're comfortable here, you can stay here. You're gonna pause for a little bit. Always come back down if you need a break, okay? If you wanna go a little bit further, we're going into what I call smile, okay? Up on your toes, and we're gonna just take our right hip to our right armpit. We're gonna push it back, and left hip to left armpit. All right, I'll go ahead and switch so that you guys can see me from a different angle. So what it looks like, I'm hovering a couple inches off the ground. I'm taking my left hip up and back, my right hip up and back. And I'm creating, essentially, with my hips, I'm creating the bottom part of a smile, back and forth. All right, stay with it. Right hip to right armpit, left hip to left armpit. Nice job. Really engaging all of our muscles. Suck in that belly button to the spine, engaging your core. Find your breath. Feel into the shake. Try to do one more on each side. Ooh. Yeah, and go ahead and rest it back down. Take big toes to touch. Take your knees wide. Take it back to child's pose. If you're doing child's pose on your back, I'll show you what it could look like. All right, just as an altered spot. If child's pose is too hard, you're gonna take big toes to touch, and you're just gonna draw your knees towards the floor. It almost looks like a heart with the mountains. There's a heart. So if you're in child's pose or you're on your back in an altered child's pose, take a couple deep breaths. Take that breath all the way in through the chest, into the belly, really expanding into your lungs, and release it. And the heart again. Good. On your next exhale, we'll go ahead and meet back in tabletop. So if you're on your back, you're going to just roll around. If you're already in child's pose, just go ahead and start slowly lifting up and meet in tabletop position. Okay. From here, I'm going to take my left foot. I'm going to release it to the side. Okay. So my left foot is hanging off the side of the mat. My left hand is planted right in line with my left knee, and I'm going to open up my heart. My right hand's going to go up to the sky. My right leg is also straight back. My entire foot is planted on the floor. Okay, so I'll turn to an angle so you can kind of see me. All right. Back foot, entire foot, you want to push down towards your pinky toes. Inhale, your hand lifts. See if you can really open up through your shoulders. Maybe even take a little slight reach back behind you. Exhale it out. Good. Next, inhale, lift your arm back up. And then exhale, both hands come down to the mat. All right, back in tabletop, we're going to do the same thing, opposite side. So right leg goes out, parallel. Right hand goes forward, left hand goes up, left foot goes back. Push your back foot, push into those pinky toes. Your foot should be parallel to the back of the mat. Maybe a slight reach further behind you with that left hand. Good. Next inhale, go ahead and lift up back to the sky, straight line. And then exhale, we'll come back to our tabletop position. Okay. From here, we're going to go ahead and go into a lunge position, but our knees are going to be on the ground. So we're going to lift up our left foot and plant it between our hands. Okay. Go ahead and slowly walk your hands up. It's going to cut off my head. All right. I'm going to flip my foot so that my bottom of my foot, the top of my foot is flat on the mat. All right. From here, I'm just going to lean forward. My knee, this is one of the only times I'm going to let my knee come further than my toes. Right? Your back hip flexor should be the one feeling it. I also adjusted so I could get a wider space in between. I pushed my back leg a little bit further behind me. Just feel into that lunge. I love doing this at night because I can hear all the awesome sounds around me. All right, then I'm going to heel toe my left foot to the outer mat. Not too much of a stretch here. Okay, we're going to keep it pretty simple. So I'm still in the lunge position. Okay, I'm going to take my elbow or my hand. I'm just going to gently push that knee away from me. Kind of opening up this space now. Opposite hip, opening that space up. Nice. Just see how that feels. If it's too much, you can always just keep it straight up. Okay, try to open up your shoulders, right? We're not trying to round ever, right? We want to open up that chest, open up that heart, shine it forward. Good. And then go ahead and plant your hand back down. Heel toe your left foot back into the center. All right, and then we're going to push it back, tabletop. If you need to push back a little bit, take a little break in between. Totally fine. Not full child's pose, just a little baby teaser. All right, we're going to come back up, tabletop. We're going to bring our right foot in the middle. Okay, same thing here. I'm going to adjust my left foot back a little bit further. My toes are going to be like this. Top of my foot on the mat behind me. Okay, I'm just going to go forward into that lunge. My knee is really like right in line with my toes. I'm not going much further ahead than them. What I mean by that is if you draw a straight line from your knee down to the floor or down to the mat, you want to be pretty close to the front of your toes. Good. Now we're going to heel toe that foot to the edge of the mat. Okay, you can stay here, opening up in our right hip flexor. You can also take your hand or your elbow and gently push away. Okay, not collapsing or opening up that heart space through the shoulders. Feels so good. All right, and then go ahead and plant that hand back down. Heel toe your foot back into the center. Go ahead and bring it back. All right, we are going to go into child's pose for the last pose here. So again, big toes to touch, knees are wide on the mat. Go ahead and sink your butt back towards your heels. Hands go towards the front of the mat. You should see and feel maybe a little bit more flexible than when you started. All right, you can take your chin to the mat. Okay, your heart is working its way down to the floor or down to the roof. If you guys notice, I'm on my roof. Take a couple more deep breaths here. Send that breath all the way down to your hips. And when you're ready, you'll slowly start to walk your hands back up. Okay? Close your knees back in so that you have a tabletop position. Shake out those hips. Hear the hyenas that are actually humans. That's it. Thanks for joining me for a hip stretch.